Hey guys, I'm Tridib here on behalf of the FootyPod, and we're back after a long hiatus. We've all been fairly busy with our Indian middle-aged careers, taking a kickstart, and if you don't have video on, so you can't see our man Satyajit's beard coming up. It's a sight to behold. So wish you could see that. But anyway, we're back after a while, and there's so much to discuss. We just got over with the Euros and the Copa America, and these are tournaments that were really exciting, and the transfer mills in overdrive, and Fabrizio is just on. He's just been pumping on news like day after day without any sleep, and it's just crazy to see that. So we have a lot to go through, and with me I have Zohair. Zohair, say hi.
Hi, actually, it's good to be
All
back,
right.
man. It's good to be back. How you been?
I'm good. I'm good. How you been?
No,
How's
I'm
your
good.
how's
Just been
your work going?
just good. But I think for the past month, most of us have been focusing more on the Euros. So yeah, that and more, just balancing it out.
Yeah. Same here. What about you, Sarah? Say hi, man.
What's up, guys? How's everyone doing?
Ah, man, your
We're all
beard.
good.
Yeah, it's your beard. I know I saw you a week ago or so, and it wasn't like
Saw me
this,
on
but
Sunday, man. Literally like 4 days ago.
hey, it seems like a year.
I think the sun blinded you, so you couldn't see my beard properly.
Possibly. It was a very
Possibly,
bright day. It was a
or
very
maybe
bright.
it was your heat itself. That's a point to consider.
Okay, maybe. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. What do you guys think about the Euros and the Copa? Let's start off with the Euros. Go for it.
So the Euros was wild. I remember Chidav, you and I did like a prediction video before the Euros started. And we were so off. I mean,
Wow.
we could not be more wrong. I think you predicted Italy not making it past the group stage or going
No,
out
no,
in
no,
the
no,
round
no,
of
no. I
16.
had I had Italy. Okay, I had Italy, Belgium right. I had it in
Yeah,
there, but then Belgium beat Italy for me, and that didn't work out. So
yeah. Italy completely dominated Belgium. I mean, didn't dominate. I think they like
1,
just like gave the
two,
game
1.
away. But like, no,
Licked
sorry,
his
what am I?
Netherlands, man.
Sorry, I confused the two. Yeah, but that was a good game too. But yeah, our predictions were insanely off, and I I thought Portugal was gonna win it again, and well, they just couldn't show up.
Oh, that was
But
pretty
anyway,
off.
yeah, Sato, what do you think, man?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I think many people would have been surprised with how the Euros went. I think it was a tournament for the underdogs, with the likes of Denmark, Czech Republic, all these teams doing well. In fact, Italy themselves, no one really gave them much of a chance, and they went on to win it. But if you think about it, before the tournament, they had been on some crazy win run. They had not lost a game since September 2018. So they were drilled and prepared for this tournament, and ultimately they have the trophy to show for it now.
All right, let me just say something. Like, I can't justify this from like a logical standpoint, so I need you got your guys' input on it. How are you, as an England fan, so confident going into a final? Like I'm not saying you guys are England fans, but just for a second, just put yourself into their headspace and just think, how are you that confident going against such a strong team like Italy? And even after the first goal was scored, they were like off their rockers. They already thought that they'd won it. They were going crazy with I don't know how many times I heard or saw it's coming home, it's coming home. And there was always this nagging voice in the back of my head that said, wait, it's Italy. Like anything can happen at literally any time. And that's exactly what did happen. Sure, it got way more dramatic, way more suspenseful than it could have. And I'm happy about that. And Jordan Pickford, by the way, I feel so bad for the guy. He pulled off some great saves in that tournament. But like, just think from an England fan's point of view, like how do you get so confident and ahead of yourself?
All right, so I think that was a bit of a break there. I thought Sato was going to take point on this, but never mind. I think I can take this one. So I don't know, man. It's obviously they've been waiting for a while for their trophy, and that sort of negates the confidence that was on show for the past few years. Actually, I don't think this is something new. It was there throughout the last World Cup as well. They've obviously done well. Like their team is doing well. They made the finals of the World Cup, and no, they made the semifinals of the World Cup, and they made the finals of the Euro. So they're doing well. They just need to go that extra step. But I don't know about their fan base is I think
Very toxic.
yeah. I mean, it's I'm not going to generalize here, but there are a few radicals out there who don't represent the best of us, and a lot of their interests were manifested through the abuse that was directed at Rashford, Saka, and Sancho. That was not the best of the English, and yeah, it's not fair to those three young men who stepped up in that moment of pressure. They shouldn't have, arguably, Saka shouldn't have been placed on that spot to take that decisive penalty. But he showed massive character by going through with it, and the abuse that they got after that was unfair. And you just don't want to see something like that happening in football. But as far as the it's coming home chance go, I'm sort of glad that Italy won it. I think I don't know. I just think that Italy were the most deserving team as well throughout the group stage and the knockouts. They displayed a kind of consistency that they showed from minute 1 through 90, and they had this real team spirit about them, which just carried them through. So I'm happy they won. And England fans, you might want to tone it down for 2022.
Yeah,
That's a yeah, Sada, go on. Sorry.
yeah, I was just gonna say that I mostly agree with what Tridip said. I do also agree that England fans, I mean, they act like, they've been, they football is coming home, but let's be honest, this was their first ever Euro final. Like ever since the inception of the competition, they've only made one final before this, and that was in 1966. So I mean, they act like they have a lot. I mean, they already have a lot of trophies, but the reality is that they only have one World Cup. And I think the hype was real. I think the fact that the tournament was played at home gave them a lot of advantages. They had the home support. Didn't have to travel as much as the other teams, like Wales, for example, had to go to Baku and travel all over the place. So I think a lot of it was in England's favor, but I always knew at the back of my mind, even after the first goal, because if you remember against Croatia in the semis, England did score first of that Kieran Trippier free kick, and they went on to lose. So I thought, similarly, I don't know if they were going to be able to hold back Italy, who, as you said, have been arguably the best team, like obviously clearly the best team of the tournament, and they deserve the trophy, and I'm happy for their fans and for their players. So yeah, I'm really gutted for Harry Kane though, and I mean, I know I'm gutted for the whole team, but Harry Kane in particular, because he's been such an early man throughout his career. With Spurs, he lost the UCL final, and he's not even won a trophy for his in his whole career, and he's such a good player. So I feel gutted for him, but hopefully they can go one step forward in the next World Cup in I think December of 2022. So yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I just want to take a lateral from the Euro talk and move on to into some of the Copa activity that happened over the summer. So the Copa was obviously not under the spotlight as much, but it did turn out to be fairly eventful, with Argentina Brazil meeting in the final. Leo Messi finally getting that international trophy that he's deserved. Let's be honest, he's deserved it. As a Real Madrid fan, it pains me to say that, but he's deserved that trophy. And but I wanted to ask you this. Firstly, my question is a two-part question, and I'm going to weigh in with my opinion at the end. But this is my question. So, firstly, how did you think? What did you think about the Copa? Do you think Argentina deserved it? And secondly, do you think Messi is the GOAT? Like seriously, do you think Messi is the GOAT? And the other part, go for it.
So I know you're slightly biased in terms of the second question, so I know which way I'm leaning. But To answer the first part of your question before we get to the nice juicy stuff, I'm gonna say that yes, they did deserve it. The final, as far as I can remember it, I watched like I'm pretty sure all of us watched it at the same time. It was really really early, and I like woke up at 5:30 to watch it. And like as far as I can say, it was just one moment of magic from uh, Di Maria, and that settled it. And yeah, both I'd say both were it was sort of stagnant the whole match, but like Argentina just had the edge over it. And when it comes to these battles of such high quality, and when you have players of such class on either side, it's the fine margins that count. And Argentina made it work in their favor. So in my opinion, I think it's very well deserved, and I think Messi finally getting his international trophy or his name on an international trophy just completes the entire circle for him. He can now retire in peace. I know you'd be happy to hear news of his retirement anytime soon. But as far as him becoming the GOAT, I mean, I gotta say that I'm with you here but at the same time, for anyone out there listening to me, I might just want to warn you that I am a Manchester United fan. And Ronaldo did at one point of time play for Manchester United. So in any talk of Messi being good, there is obviously the counterpoint that is Cristiano Ronaldo, right? And people have been weighing these two against each other for the past 2 decades, I think, or at least the past 1.5 decades. And for me, in my heart, it will always be Ronaldo. But I am happy that Messi got his trophy at the same time. But that's let's go over to an unbiased opinion to our Liverpool supporter. Satyajit, what do you think, man?
Right. So to answer your first question, I would say Argentina, based on like they deserve to win the Copa America. I think based on how they played throughout the campaign, they were hard to score against. I felt their defense was much better than they had in previous tournaments. I thought Emi Martinez was an immense addition to their squad. I think this trophy should actually be credited to Neil Maupay, because if he never injured Bern Leno, we would never hear of Emi Martinez, and Messi would not win the international trophy that he was looking
Wow.
for long. If he didn't injure Bern Leno, I mean, yeah. So shout out to Neil Maupay. But jokes aside, we
By
have to
that
say
logic, we can credit Manchester City's title win to Jordan Pickford because
maybe.
he
But
injured Virgil van Dijk.
I'm saying that I don't think anyone would ever hear of Emi Martinez if he never got that chance, and he would never complete that transfer to Villa. And it's a cycle. But I mean, jokes aside, I guess they had a very superior. They had a good defense. I thought Christian Romero, also Atalanta player, he won the Serie A Defender of the Season. I thought he was immense. Otamendi held up. The midfield, Rodrigo De Paul was, in my opinion, man of the final. He was playing so well. So I think they had a really good system going. They had a good team, and yeah, and Messi, of course, top scorer, top assister, best player of the tournament. I mean, he really carried Argentina to that final, and then of course it wasn't him who scored the winning goal. It was Angel Di Maria, but credit should go to the entire team. And I mean, yeah, I'm happy for Messi. Now, as for your second question, I mean, I prefer not to kind of pit the two against each other. I feel both of them are such like icons. We are lucky to kind of have both of them play against each other, and compete against each other. But for me personally, I would say if you look at the whole body of work of both the players, like they have both achieved so many records. But the way Messi kind of carried Argentina, or the way he kind of has played for Barcelona, he's had these amazing seasons. He's won so many Man of the Match awards. He's kind of been so good. And I mean, I'll always lean towards Messi in a way. So I'm sorry, guys, but I mean, but as for whether he's the GOAT or not, I don't know if you can really pick any one player to be the GOAT. But if I have to judge by a whole body of work throughout the career, I would say Messi for me just edges it a little bit. But it's very tight, because Ronaldo, of course, what he's achieved in Champions League football is insurmountable. What Messi has achieved, in La Liga, you can say Ronaldo did it in other leagues. You can say Messi has obviously done well in Champions League. So it's an argument which is never going to end. And rather than arguing about who's better, I would rather just see them go off in the sunset together, because after them, I don't know, Mbappe, Haaland, I don't know if they're going to measure up. So I would rather enjoy. But to answer your question, the GOAT, it's very subjective because neither have won the World Cup. You can talk about that as well. Talk about guys like Pele, who's won 3 World Cups. They've also, of course, been considered the GOAT. So it's a subjective thing. But for me, Messi, I think he is one of, if not the greatest player of all time. So yeah.
Okay. Well, it was interesting to see that you guys just assumed that I was going with Ronaldo. Uh, that was good. Okay, but let me weigh in with what I have to say. So the Copas for me, I think Argentina were better than what they were in previous seasons in the Copa, but I don't think they deserved it. I think Brazil did enough for me for to sway me into believing that they would be champions. I think in the final, Argentina got one chance. They put that away, and fair play to them for that. But it was just one chance. The South American football is just so different from from like the European style that we're usually used to watching. Like it's on a tactical standpoint, it's not up to the same level. There's a lot more physicality involved, and there's a lesser emphasis on defending, right? And that was on show for the entirety of the final. So Brazil, obviously, they generated the bulk of the chances, but Argentina scraped through. I'm also a little annoyed to see that the entire narrative going into the final and even post final is that is this of Messi deserving an international trophy, right? Like this discourse just pissed me off. Like it's not, he doesn't, it's not, I can't even like frame it. Okay. It's just that this guy has been playing from ever since his career started. He's been playing in arguably the best team that's ever played football, under the best tactical setup, under the best possible manager, alongside arguably the best midfield. And he's played in a setup that was tailored to every single one of his abilities. Like that was the best team he could have played in. And he's done that over the course of his career. And it's just that, like when you say you deserve, when you say that he deserves an international trophy, he wasn't like, he didn't like battle back from injuries to sort of claw his way back. And it's not like he hasn't won anything before. Like this guy is the best player in the world. He's had all of the conditions and the environment necessary to make him that. And this entire narrative of him deserving an international trophy just because his abilities dictate him to, is just such a bullshit narrative. And the thing is, he's obviously done well in this year's Copa. There's no denying that. But in the final, he was really bad. Okay, let's just face up to it. He had 2 key passes, but I think he gave away possessions 17 times. But you see, what's going to happen 10 years from now is that when people look back on this final, it's going to be Messi saved Argentina. He dragged them all the way to the Copa, and that's how the narrative's going to shift. And that's what's annoying, right? Because it wasn't just Messi. Like you mentioned, Rodrigo de Paul was arguably man of the match. Messi was anonymous, to say the least. He's obviously done very well to take Argentina to the final, but in the final he was really bad. But yeah, as for how the GOAT argument goes, um, I think it's tight. Like I don't think the fact that Messi winning a Copa America just automatically ends the debate. Like I don't think that's the thing, because in that case, like it's just one match. One match cannot possibly dictate how much superior a player is to his counterpart, just because there has been a much larger sample size from which to draw conclusions, because you've literally seen these players play hundreds of matches, and you can't draw a conclusion of that magnitude based on whether Messi wins an international trophy or not, right? Firstly, I don't think a Copa America is equivalent to a Euros win, because firstly, the Euros are arguably more competitive. And secondly, Messi's had way more shots at it than Ronaldo. So in the past decade, I think the Euros have been played 5 times. The Copa have been played 5 times. That's once every 2 years. The Euros are played once every 4 years. So it's just firstly a Copa win is not equivalent to a Euro win, but I like it doesn't matter because I don't think the presence of an international trophy necessarily sways the debate towards any one of the candidates, right? That being said, I do think Messi is probably the greatest of all time because he is he's just like a game-changing player, man. Like purely based on the eye test, like you leave the stats alone, you'd rather have Messi in your team. But that being said, he's also not exactly a big game player. Like if you were 3-0 down to some team in the Champions League, you'd rather have Ronaldo in your team, right? You wouldn't have Messi in your team. And that sort of weighs in because you need to have the ability to play big games. But I think what really sways the argument in Messi's favor is that he's he's just raw talent, man. Like Ronaldo's had to work hard for his thing, and he's obviously a machine that's born out of practice and repetition. But Messi's just talent, and that's just something that as human beings we like to see. We like to see that kind of talent on display, and that talent for me is why he takes the GOAT award, but not by much. I think.
I just want to point out that some people could use that argument in the other direction, right? You're right. Messi,
Yeah.
no doubt about it, he has more talent. He has the lowest center of gravity that I've ever seen in a player. And he just moves in and out of players just so freaking quickly that it's not even a debate at this point. He is better on the ball than off it. And but I would say that just the fact that Ronaldo has had to put in that much effort and he's done it consistently over the last 1.5 decades, given that he's what, almost 36 now? Isn't he 36? Yeah. Just he's that old and he still puts in that much effort. He's kept himself in that great shape. Like, to draw parallels, right? Um, I'd like to compare him to like Roger Federer, right? Roger Federer at one point of time was a Ronaldo, sorry, and he had to play. He had to play his way to the top. He had to earn the title of the GOAT. But now that he's growing old and he doesn't move as quickly, he has to rely more on his tactical skill and his finishing on the ball and his serves and his smashes. He's just getting to more of a messy play style wherein he conserves his energy and plays the correct shot at the key moments. So both of these Messi's form of gameplay is sort of a preserving style of gameplay, and Ronaldo's just like pushed him to the top. So what I'm trying to say here is that the fact that Ronaldo had to work so hard just proves that he just wants it that little bit more, and that's why, in my opinion, he becomes the greatest of all time.
Okay, well, I guess that's where the subjectiveness comes in that I would rather prefer the talent
Yeah. If I
and
may just say, yeah,
versatility of Messi. Prefer the yeah, I'm sorry. I guess that's where the subjectiveness comes in that I preferred the talent, the raw talent that Messi brings, whereas you bring the practice and the repetition that made Ronaldo what he is. So
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, I was just gonna say that Messi is probably a footballer that an artist would make, while Ronaldo is someone like an engineer would make. Like I read that somewhere and I thought that was so cool. I was like,
Oh
damn,
yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Like Messi
As
is
an
like,
engineer, I hate to admit that I'm siding with the artist here, but it is what it is.
yeah, yeah, you're like an engineer, so yeah, it must be a bit
Yeah, I think the
ironic.
coder within Tulip right now disagrees with what he's saying, but like the heart wants what the
Yeah,
heart wants.
for sure. The hard ones with the hard ones. I did want to ask you guys about let's just shift away from the contentious topic that is the GOAT. Let's talk about the team of the Euros. That was interesting. I don't know. Like there are usually teams like these things, like teams of the season, teams of the tournaments. These usually generate a lot of debate. And I was wondering what you guys thought about the team of the Euros.
Denmark for sure, 100%. I don't even think
Oh
any
man,
game.
no, don't man. I didn't mean that, man. I meant like team of the tournament, like the players that selected for that, not
Oh,
them.
like collectively the best players to form one team from all
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
nations.
yeah.
Okay. So for leaning in that direction, yeah. All right, I'm gonna let Sarah take point on this one, and then I will add on later.
Yeah, so just for reference, the team of the tournament is basically Donnarumma in goal, Spinazzola, Chiellini, Maguire, and Kyle Walker as a back four. Midfield three is Jorginho, Pedri, and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. And the front three, of
I
course,
think
is
I think you mean Hodgebajug.
Højbjerg. Yeah, of course. And I think the front three is Sterling, Lukaku, and I can't see,
Chiesa.
and Chiesa. Yeah, Chiesa. So if you look at them all individually, like the goalkeeper, I guess Donnarumma, player of the tournament, saved, has never lost a penalty shootout for his nation. Like he's arguably the undisputed choice. The only other person who maybe you could put there is Pickford, but I think it's pretty much like everyone agrees that Donnarumma earned it and he deserves that place in the team of the tournament. As for the defenders, you could make a case for. Sorry, I didn't. I said Chiellini. I meant Bonucci. It was in the team of the year. Chiellini wasn't. So you could say Chiellini could come in for Maguire, but I think Maguire also had a really outstanding tournament. I think he was immense. When he was there, like England as a whole, like defensively were outstanding. They only conceded 2 goals in the whole tournament, both of which came as a result of set pieces. So, I mean, you have to say Maguire probably deserves to be there as well. Luke Shaw, in my opinion, over Spinazzola, I think it's again very close. But I think Shaw, like throughout the tournament, was outstanding again. He was giving offensive returns as well as he was defensively good, solid. So he scored a goal in the final as well. So I mean, I think Shaw over Spinazzola, although Spinazzola also was great in throughout the tournament, but he got injured and unfortunately he was unable to play the final and the semi-final. But I think Shaw over him. I think Kyle Walker also. I think I would not take Kyle Walker. I would go for Maile. I thought for Denmark he was also extremely good. I
Well,
think he played,
Miller would compete with Sean Spinazzola, right?
but I think normally he's a right back.
Okay, okay, all right.
But I mean, yeah, based on what you're saying, I guess you would compete him for the left back spot. But I thought he was great as well. But Kyle Walker also deserves to be there. He was also great throughout, consistent. Now, Jorginho, Pedri, and Højbjerg, again, I think not much to debate here. Maybe Hojbjerg, as you people like to call him.
There you go, catching on.
Maybe you could replace him
I'm
with
so
someone.
glad that stuck around, man.
I think you could replace him with someone like Virati, who I think was, when he came back from injury, he was great. He created, I think, the most chances in the whole Euros, which is quite amazing. I think he's a very underrated part of the Italy squad. Um, but now the front three, I think this is where most of the debate comes in. Lukaku over Ronaldo seems a bit, I think that's a bit off. Ronaldo, although he scored like all his goals in the group stage, he was still like, he still has the golden boot. And I think you still should have your golden boot holder in your team of the tournament. As for Chiesa, I think he was really good, like to look at. He was really powerful. But maybe you could make an argument that he didn't play that many games until the knockout stages, so you don't really have the full kind of thing. But again, he scored really crucial goals, so you can't really fault him for not playing all the games and have being on the bench. Now, Sterling, I think deserves. I think that it's a bit of an unpopular opinion for some reason, but I think Sterling single-handedly carried England through the group stages in the sense he scored most majority of their goals, and I think he gave an assist to Harry Kane as well. So I think he deserves it over the likes of Insigne and company. But yeah, so just in short, I think Ronaldo should be in there. Maybe Shaw. You could make a case for Shaw to be in there, and I think Verratti also could be put in the team of the tournament as well.
All right, Zer, why don't you take this one now? Go for it.
All right, so it's obviously he did the bulk of the heavy lifting, so I'm gonna piggyback off what he said. So I agree with you in the sense that I think that Shaw should make the team, like for sure. I'm not just biased as a Manchester United player, but I think Spinazzola was good, but I think Shaw was just better. Like Shaw just, for me, the movement with Shaw was just a lot more fluid. For me, his first touch was a lot better. For me, he was in more in control with the ball. His deliveries were better, especially that one match where he delivered like pinpoint crosses onto Harry Maguire and Harry Kane's heads. That was insane. So I think he should make it in. Another probably unpopular opinion is in the midfield area. I feel like they should have made space for, wait for it, Renato Sanchez. Like I think that guy was just a burst of energy in Portugal's midfield, and I think that the amount of control and energy and speed that he displayed in the midfield really shows that he knows how to control a game. And you control a game from the midfield, right? And his passing was amazing. He was the connection between defense and offense, and his supply line was simply impeccable throughout the match, throughout the tournament. So I'd say that probably make room for Renato Sanchez somewhere in there. I don't know who I'd replace him with, like who I'd replace with him though. And in strike, I think Sterling deserves a spot, honestly. Lukaku or Ronaldo, well, they're both immense, tremendous strikers, right? And yeah, your Golden Boot winner has a case to make. You have a case to make for him because he's got the most goals. But I still think I would give the edge over to Lukaku. And other than that, I don't think I'd change the team much. I think Donnarumma would be like Donnarumma is just like immense in goal, and I can't believe he's going to PSG. But like, yeah, that guy's probably like the best keeper in the world right now. So yeah, that's it for me. Over to you, Shradha.
So so for the goalkeeper position, I think that's a no-brainer. Donnarumma takes it. It's interesting because Jordan Pickford won the Golden Glove, but yeah, Donnarumma takes it. In right back, I would actually have Denzel Dumfries over Kyle Walker. I think Dumfries was so good for the Dutch, man. Like he was just running up and down, and he's a physical specimen. So he has the physicality to come back in defense even when he's like caught all the way up the pitch. So Denzel Dumfries for me takes it at right back, but I also think that he needs a move this summer because he's at PSV Eindhoven, I believe, and I think he might need to make the move. Uh, in center back, you've got Harry Maguire, Leonardo Bonucci. It also pisses me off how people always talk about Leonardo Bonucci and Chiellini as a duo. Like you never really hear about the appreciation that they individually get. It's always in conjunction with each other, which is they're their own identity and they have their own style. Like, you don't need to do that. Left back, I think Shaw takes it from me. I think Spinazzola was really good, but I think his injury might have just given the edge to Shaw. Spinazzola is another one who I think needs a move this summer while their values are still hot and etc. etc. But I think that'll probably be harder given his injury. So that's my opinion on the defense. In midfield, I think Jorginho, Pedri are fine. But I think for Hojbjerg, I'd rather have Mikael Damsgaard in there. Damsgaard was very good for Denmark. Plays for Sassuolo. He's a very young player, and he was really good for Denmark in the absence of Christian Eriksen. So I think Damsgaard should probably, yeah, he's another one who needs to move soon. So hopefully that works out. In attack, Sterling and Chiesa. I'm a little conflicted about Chiesa because he didn't come into play until the knockouts kicked off, and so we don't really have much of a sample size. But given that I don't really know who else I'd rather give it to. I think Martin Brathwaite might be a shout, which is weird because he he is, yeah, it's a weird call, but Martin Brathwaite was good for Denmark. So but yeah, Chiesa, I'm fine with that. As for striker, uh I don't know, like Lukaku was so good for Belgium, like not just goals, he was just such like a monstrosity up front, and it was so hard to get the ball of him, and he was just unplayable at times. So I think I'd stick with the attack. Some issues with midfield and defense, but overall I think it's fine. I think they did a pretty good job with it. So
All right, that's great to hear. So now you guys have all our three opinions on the Euros and the team of the tournament. Now, before we wrap up, just quickly, I want to ask you guys a word on the transfer market. So, hit me with everything you've got. Come on, Jadon Sancho, Saul to Barcelona. Just hit me.
yeah, so I'm gonna channel my inner Fabrizio. I've been following some of his Here We Go podcasts on Twitch, and it's been interesting. So the Saul to Griezmann swap is actually pretty advanced. Like this was quite sudden, so it's actually in a pretty advanced stage of negotiation. So both players are have given the green light to moving to the respective clubs, and it's not expected to take much longer. So Griezmann to Barca and Saul to Griezmann to Atletico and Saul to Barca. Barca are also expecting a cash payment along with Griezmann for some reason. Like I don't really get why. Like you're selling them Griezmann and you're getting Saul. I don't know why you need cash as well. Like, that's probably not going to happen. So you have that. Or I also got some news on Erling Haaland on the podcast. So Haaland is probably staying this summer. I've heard rumors about Chelsea making some bids for him, but that's probably not going to happen. Dortmund don't need the money, and they're also unlikely to sell him this late into the transfer window. Like not this late, but they're unlikely to sell him in August, is what I mean.
But
So
I heard like recently, I think it was this morning that I heard that Roman Abramovich, I think he released like 150 million, dude, and he's just like going all out for Erling Haaland this summer.
I think the idea in the
And do you
Holland
really?
is that they want to check out all the projects and make an informed decision
Mhm.
before because it does because whether they bid 150 or 75 next year is of little matter to Holland, right? Because all that the transfer fee is going to go to the club. So I think they'd rather check out the projects. I think Holland stays this summer. Some interesting news on Mbappe before I hand over to Sato. Some interesting news on Mbappe. I think I saw some reports today that he wants to play for Real Madrid, and and I think Madrid are willing to offer at most 110 with 50 million in add-ons for Mbappe services. Um, Not a penny more, and they'll be out of the market if PSG demand more. So that should be an interesting issue to keep an eye on. I expect that one to rumble on throughout August. And if any move was to happen, it would probably be in like the last 2 weeks of August. But this is going to be a long one. And if it doesn't work out, next summer is always the case. As a Real Madrid fan, I'm probably going to get bashed for this, but I'd rather get Haaland next year for free, rather get Mbappe next year for free, and reinvest the money that you've put in the Mbappe kitty into Haaland for his 75 million release clause. So that's a dream scenario in which you have both working out for you, but it's not unattainable. That's my point. So yeah,
Yeah,
Sato.
I want to hurl expletives at you right now, but I'm not going to do that. So I'll let Sarah take over.
All right.
Yeah. Before I start, Trite, what do you think of the leaked audio of Fiorentino Perez bashing his Madrid players?
Oh, dude, I have no idea what's wrong with the guy. Like, I love the guy to death, okay, but he released an official statement on Real Madrid. He was like, these words were taken out of a wider context in which they were meant. Like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? Like, like you called him an idiot and you called him a moron and you said he was useless. Like, what larger context can that possibly be a part of? Like, what nonsense are you spewing right now? Like, it's going to be very hard for him to build back the reputation he had with the Real Madrid fan base over the past few years. So I'm looking. I don't want him to leave, but I don't know how he could possibly come back from this.
He's getting too old, man. Anyway, I think he should consider maybe leave maybe another 2 3 years before he finally calls it a day. He's done a lot for Real Madrid, I guess, and regardless of what his views are, you can't deny under his reign the club has been quite successful. But anyway, regarding transfers, I think you mentioned most of the big ones. I did read somewhere about Jules Koundé to Spurs, and Sevilla had accepted the bid, but Koundé was like, "I'm not going to Spurs," and he decided to stay in Sevilla so that he can play Champions League football. I don't think he wants to play in airports, so he's not going there. So I think another one was, of course, um, I think Chiesa, they had 100 million bid from Chelsea. I think I read that somewhere as well. Juventus, of course, refused to sell. But as far as I know, Chiesa is on loan at Juventus. He's not really a Juventus player. He's a Fiorentina player. But I'm not sure how that would work. I don't think Juventus have bought him yet, so we'll have to see. But I don't know. Juventus just said we're not selling him to Chelsea, so that was the end of that. And another one, I guess the transfer story that dominated for the last few weeks was, of course, Jadon Sancho to United, which I think is a pretty good transfer. I think obviously he was being pursued by United for a very very long period of time, and finally they have him on principle. Um, Liverpool, of course, bought Konate, and as a fan, I'm excited to see how he's going to be playing. I've seen pictures of him. I've seen highlights of him. He's a pretty big specimen, and I think watching him play is something which I'll be looking forward to for the new season. Also, speaking of new season, Arsenal had a preseason game yesterday where they lost 2-1 to Hibernian Edinburgh,
It's
which was
gonna gonna be on their documentary. I'm
quite
looking
an
forward to
interesting. Yeah,
that.
exactly. For all of nothing, I think they're going to put that there. It's going to be an interesting first episode. You should see. I've seen pictures of William's gut. I think he's going to give Hazard some competition. Um, but I think the less said about that, the better.
Man,
Can I just say,
both of
like,
you were just popping off today.
yes, Sato is just on his game. Like, usually he says all this stuff off the record. Like, he's always pulling the sassy stuff off record, but we've always been encouraging him to say it on video, and we're
Yeah, I
glad to
think now
see
he's
this.
just
Yeah.
comfortable in his skin now on video. So I think he's just spewing it out as it comes.
Yeah.
But
Go for it. Keep them coming, man.
anyway, yeah, you keep them coming. Thank you guys for your insights on the transfers. I'm pretty sure you guys covered everything, which leaves little for me to discuss except for the ones already made. So I'm gonna start off with Jadon Sancho. I think it's pretty much done now. I think it's safe as a Manchester United fan to rejoice in the fact that we have finally signed him after, I don't know, tempting us for how long and
It's crazy
so much heartbreak.
you spent like 2 years trying to chase a player where you had like no competition from other clubs. Like, it was just you and Dortmund.
Yeah, it's like you and that one girl you like, Shadib.
What?
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You have
I
to
take
cut
that
this
back.
out. You have to cut this out. This is so random. You gotta cut this out.
Okay. I'll cut it out. I promise I'll cut it out. I won't, but I'll cut it out. I swear.
Cut it out. Cut it out.
Uh,
So
yeah.
hey,
Okay, fine.
hey,
Yeah.
what do you think of the transfer of Tom Heaton? I think he's a big transfer for you guys. You need a second choice keeper.
Uh,
But you plan on selling De Gea.
He had
Or,
no idea. He had no idea Tom Heaton signed.
Tom Heaton. We signed Tom Heaton.
yes, you signed Tom Heaton, man.
Oh, we signed Tom Heaton.
Bro, former United player coming back.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, I'm sure, but I'm not sure we need it. We have Henderson and De Gea,
I think he's gonna
and
keep for the
if
Carabao
anything,
Cup, man. Oh,
we have Lee Grant for that. And if anything, I would have preferred Gigi Donnarumma to come over, but like PSG had to be a complete D word about it and take him away. So I don't know. Like I hate them for that. Another interesting signing I've heard of for United is Eduardo Camavinga, and I think that if we just get these three names off our checklist, as in Sancho, Camavinga, and Varane, and if by some miracle Pogba stays, that French connection at the back and in midfield and the English connection up front is just going to like completely kill it for us this season. So fingers crossed on that. Speaking about French, I mean PSG, right? Like they've probably had the most successful, like arguably the most successful transfer season out of all clubs. Um, and I just kind of like they're just buying up all the players, and I like Wijnaldum has still got like a couple of good years left in him. They got Donnarumma at the back. They're getting Sergio Ramos, and Sergio Ramos is a heck of a player. People are saying that he's burning out, but I think he's still got that fight left in him, man. And I think that he's gonna really kill it for them this season. And if after all of this they still can't win the Champions League with Mbappe, with Donnarumma, with a kick-ass defense, then I just don't know what to say, man. Then it's just they're just cursed, and like no player should ever go to that club ever again. But anyway, enough on that. We hope that you've enjoyed listening to this podcast. We always enjoy bringing this news to you. Uh, I'm gonna hand it over to Tridham now for him to sign off.
Yeah, so it was obviously like a long time since we've done this, and I'm glad to see that there hasn't been too much rust left over. So not too many hiccups, and I'm glad about that. So before we move on to our other podcasts that have been coming up regarding transfers and the preseason preview and stuff like that, it's glad to get some of that rustiness out, even though there wasn't a lot. So I'm glad to get that out of the way, and we got to get together with some of the other members from our crew in our next podcasts and collaborate with them. So it's as always, it's been great to have you guys listen in. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know if you want any content from us that you'd like to hear about, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
See you guys. Peace.